So once again, we'll be matching up against Northwestern. They are actually 6-1, as the statisticians actually decided that they'll give the records at least at this point, since it's about halfway through for some teams. Definitely halfway through for us, but who knows for other teams. Once again, Bledsoe and Northwestern will be playing. And they're a pretty good team, considering they only lost one game during this whole season. I'll be guarding Nicolo Buchanan, who is, from what I remember, could shoot the three. And that's kind of all I remember. I remember also that with Northwestern, almost anyone could have bring up the ball, because Bledsoe can handle the ball, and everyone else pretty much, and they all can score as they get the first point of the game. I find Shepard inside, and I still get credited for the assist. I thought it got tipped, but I got lucky that it didn't. That it didn't just count as a basket for him and no assist. I contest Buchanan's shot, and I find Young on the left side. He gives us our first lead of the game so far. This time Simmons would bring up the ball. For them, anyone could bring up the ball. Simmons, Machado, Bledsoe, Buchanan. Typically not Buchanan, though. I find Hardaway inside, and Bledsoe he's tall, but he's not too big in weight. He's pretty skinny. So Hardaway was able to get the basket inside. Simmons gets the screen from Bledsoe and fades away for the mid-range. Hardaway was able to get the rebound off the miss, and I give it to Young. I see the screen, but they switched pretty well. I was open for quite a bit, but he didn't pass it to me in time, but we still got the bucket as Hardaway got the easy slam inside. Hardaway already has half of our points, and I have 3 assists on the game so far. Simmons gets open in the corner for the 3. It's definitely going to be a good game, and there's a good chance that we might lose against Northwestern. My pass ends up getting tipped by Machado, but it'd stay our ball as it ended up going out of bounds off. I give it to Shepard, who is in the post. I call for the screen from Hardaway and give it to him, but Bledsoe was waiting there. He got his own rebound, but missed again. He would get the second chance points, even though it's pretty much 3rd, 4th try. So he's off to a pretty good start. I help with dealing with Bledsoe, and Hardaway was there for the contest, but Bledsoe hit the contested shot. I try to pass it in, but it gets stolen, and Bledsoe would bring it up. He'd find Buchanan in the corner, but that 3 would miss. I immediately decided to push, but there were a lot of people around, so I give it to Wallace, go towards the 3-point line, and hit the shot. Simmons would bring up the ball, and that seems to be how this game is going to go. Simmons brings up the ball. Bledsoe brings it up off rebounds or steals. I find Shepard on the fast break to get another assist. They passed the ball around a little bit, and Wiley sets the screen for Machado, and rolls inside to get the easy shot that was pretty open. I'm able to find Hardaway open once again. He's off to a pretty good start, and we have a 8-point lead. Northwestern decided to call a timeout as Hardaway's off to a pretty good start. This time Machado would bring it up as Simmons was just getting off the bench. Bledsoe gets the mismatch on Young, but I help with the contest. Once again, I find Hardaway open inside for another easy basket. Simmons once again brings up the ball, and I'd assume that's how it's going to be for the rest of the game. Bledsoe takes a pretty deep shot. I wasn't paying attention too much, so I wasn't able to see whether it was a 2 or a 3. I immediately give it to Hardaway inside, and he gets it over Bledsoe, already with 12 points on the game. Machado is able to find Wiley, though, to get those points right back. I find Hardaway, but this time the contest works, and he'd missed the shot. On the other end, Machado would get the easy slam. I give it to Hardaway inside once again for another basket. Bledsoe dribbles by Hardaway, and he gets called for a foul. He misses the free throw, and I get subbed out. I wouldn't come back until a minute into the second quarter, not even. Peak ends up getting left open, but he stepped forward a little bit, causing it to only be a mid-range shot. I gave it to Shepard, and his defender was waiting in the paint, but his defender didn't really adapt to how he went towards the outside of the paint. Machado tries working on Pullen, and he takes the shot and misses. Shepard gets the rebound, and I'm up the court, and I thought McCree would go inside, but he decides not to. I call for the screen from McCree and decide this time I'm going to drive in myself. That'd be the first foul on Laverne. We have a pretty good lead as we have about an 11-point game. They're able to get right inside immediately to score. I call for the pick and fade as Young's a pretty good shooter. He does miss the shot, and he'll be guarding Buchanan, who's pretty much way bigger than him. As Wiley ends up getting the basket inside as I forget to guard him. We tried to get something open, and the shot clock was winding down. Chiosa's forced to take a contested shot, and of course it misses. Chiosa's not the best. Peak immediately scores on the other end, making it a 5-point game. I get the screen from Shepard, and he gets the slam inside. I like working off the screen because it really helps getting people open. And Machado on the other end gets the and one. He converts the and one, and it'd be a 4-point game. I give it to Shepard to try and work on Laverne, but he misses the shot as is contested pretty well, and Laverne's way bigger. Shepard's not really known to be a center, but since we don't have many options, he ends up being it. I find Chiosa all the way up the court, and he dribbles right by Peak, but misses the shot. I'm back on D to help with the fast break defense, and immediately get back to Wiley, who I'm defending. Laverne sets the screen, and Peak immediately drives by Chiosa, but Shepard gets the rebound off the miss. On the other end, I drive in for the layup, but that shot would miss. Machado would take a 3 and make it a 1-point game, and we would call a timeout. I don't know whether Hardaway has been in for most of the time that I was out, or if he had just been subbed out with me in the bench unit. I set the screen for Wallace, but instead it's a steal from Machado. Buchanan takes the mid-range shot on the other end, and I steal the rebound from Wiley. I'm able to get inside and put the shot up before Wiley can even contest it. But still, it's not what we wanted, as we had blown a pretty decent lead. Wallace would be called for a personal foul. In our scrimmage game against them, he had 27 points. Wiley ends up giving it to Peak, who gets the screen and immediately pops the shot. Hardaway would now be in the game, and Shepard would be moved to power forward. At least that's what I believe was how they did it. I call for the screen from Hardaway and try and pass it to him, but it gets stolen. Machado drives in on the other end, and Wiley is able to bring it down to a 1-point game. I called for the screen, but the screen wasn't too much of a help, and I end up getting a turnover off the pass. Peak tries to work on Wallace, and Buchanan's called for the offensive 3-second violation. We finally make it onto the leaderboard of power rankings. Now, I didn't pay attention to what ranking we were at, but all I knew is that we were on it, as I get my 10th assist to Shepard this time. When I've been on the court, Buchanan really hasn't gotten anything so far. At least I don't think so. Hardaway is able to contest Machado's shot, but he still hits it over him, as he has 10 points. give it to Shepard, who gets Buchanan to jump, and I'm able to get inside. Hardaway tries to get the rebound, but Laverne is able to pull it down. Buchanan takes the 3 on the other end, but Hardaway's there for the rebound. I find Shepard inside once again. It's a 3-point game, and Northwestern would call another timeout. I'd still be in the game as there's about 2 minutes 30 seconds left in this half. We actually have Yuta Watanbe also on the court. I was able to get inside, but the passes ended up getting stolen. I'm able to poke the ball loose and tried to push it to my teammate, but they ended up recovering it. Even with about 2 or 3 defenders around him, he still hits the shot. I decided to go on the post, but I get double teamed by Bledsoe, which leaves Hardaway wide open in the paint. Now we'd have the lead, and it's not anything because it's only 1. I end up leaving Bledsoe open by accident, and they'd take that lead right back. I find Hardaway immediately, who hits another basket, giving him 18, I believe. Watanbe's called for the reach-in foul, so they'd have to inbound the ball, and they give it to Bledsoe, who's trying to post me up. Simmons misses the open 3 in the corner, and I try to give it to Hardaway, but instead I go for the screen. It ends up getting stolen from me, and I try to help with Simmons, but they take the lead. Poland brings up the ball, and I try and go in the post, and it works successfully, as I'm able to force my defender away, and I get the layup. Simmons would hold the ball and waste time so that they get the last shot of the half. They end up missing the mid-range shot, and that would bring us to halftime. Hardaway's had a pretty good first half, and I have had a pretty good one. I'm getting quite a bit more assists. I'm trying to get my teammates more into the game. Instead of dropping 40 or 50, I'm like dropping 20 because I want to try and get teammates in it more. Hardaway has 18 points and 6 rebounds. Machado's been leading the Northwestern Wildcats with 12 points, 1 rebound, and 5 assists. Now Hardaway you wouldn't expect to get assists, so it makes sense that he doesn't have too many, if any. Now for a small forward, you expect to have a decent amount, like at least 5 you'd expect. 'Cause small forward is kind of like a mix of both. You get rebounds, assists. I go for the screen from Shepard, and it really didn't work as they almost stole it. Young's forced to take a shot with The shot clock winding down, and he actually hit it with contact from Machado. Machado gets the screen from Bledsoe and finds Buchanan, who I contested his shot. I tried to give it to Hardaway, but it's stolen by Bledsoe, and Simmons drives in on the other end. Shepard's called for the foul, and he'll go to the free throw line. He could bring it down to a 1-point game, and he would. Once again, it's stolen by Bledsoe, as his wingspan is able to get him pretty good leverage, and he was able to tip his hand on the ball. They set the screen, and Buchanan hits a mid-range shot as his foot was on the line. Shepard works on the post on Wiley. I decided to pop the three, and it would drop. Machado would bring up the ball for this possession, and he immediately gives it to Kobe Simmons. I make sure to guard Buchanan close, as I already knew they could shoot threes, but he's been shooting pretty well today. Shepard gets the rebound off the miss, and Young brings it up off the fast break. They're able to stop the fast break, and I get the screen from Hardaway, and he's left pretty open, but my pass was a little bit off. Hardaway's able to draw the foul on his defender, and he'd go to the free throw line as he had missed the shot. Now, he's not the best free throw shooter, considering one, he's a center, but I get subbed out for about 4 or 5 minutes. I don't know why Gibson was at shooting guard for some reason. I'm pretty much with a bunch of the bench unit, and it's just me and Shepard. I'm able to get the layup inside to go off the assist from Gibson. Davis ends up getting the easy slam inside. I just go immediately to the post, as I know I have a big mismatch on him. Simmons would bring the ball up, and they'd pass it to Machado, and they'd set a bunch of screens to try and get Buchanan open for the three, which is what they seem to be doing this whole game. I got confused who I was guarding, and Tepic ends up getting open. I'm able to save the pass after it was tipped. Shepard fakes it multiple times and draws the foul on Davis. Now, he's not the best, from what I believe at least, but he did hit both. I'd be moved to power forward, and the person playing power forward for them was Tepic. Simmons is able to score, and that was who I ended up having to guard off the screen, I guess. I immediately find Shepard, who's left open as his defender wasn't really paying attention, and it was an easy shot for him to hit. Simmons gets it stolen by Shepard, and I find Gibson, who's in the corner. unfortunately, he missed the 3-point shot. And Buchanan would drive inside for the easy layup. I draw the double team and try and pass it to Gibson, but the pass is stolen. I end up jumping too early trying to defend Buchanan's shot, and it'd still be just an easy slam. I'd be called out of bounds even though I really didn't think I was out of bounds. So that'd be another turnover on the game. I'd be there to contest Kobe Simmons' shot, but they'd still tie up the game. We have a pretty small lineup going right now. I called for the screen from Shepard, and the pass was a little bit off. He still was able to get the shot to go, and we'd have a lead going into the fourth quarter. It's not a big one, but we're going to have to work with it. We haven't been playing the best that we could have been, but I'm trying to get us this win over Northwestern, as we had lost our previous matchup with them. Simmons would get the ball and try and dribble by Poen. He ends up fading away, and that'd give him his 22nd point on the game. I do a little post up on Simmons, and he ends up contesting it pretty well, but I get my own board to put it right back up. Simmons gets the screen from Davis, and Poen was able to stay with him. Gibson would be guarding Buchanan, and that's a big mismatch, as Buchanan's way bigger than Gibson. The game is now all tied up, and I could just see that Buchanan was fired up. We have a pretty small unit out at this point, because we have Young, Poen, Gibson. Gibson has the ball and gets the screen from Shepard. Shepard drives inside, but is unable to get the shot to go, so it'd just be 2 free throws. He has 20 points on the game so far, and he hasn't been shooting that bad. He'd now have 22 points after hitting both free throws, and once again we'd have a 2-point lead. He had no free throws in the first half, but now he was finally able to get some, as he's been 4 of 4. I end up getting blocked by Wiley on the other end, and Buchanan tries to find something that's open, and Machado would be the open man as he hits the 3-point shot to give Northwestern the lead. I saw Hardaway was waiting to get subbed in, so I'd assume that either I'd get subbed out or moved to small forward. I try to block Simmons' shot, but instead it's an and one. I would stay in the game, as it'd just be Hardaway would come in, Shepard moved to power forward, and I moved to small forward. I call for the screen from Hardaway, and I tried to get it into him who was open, but Instead, it was stolen. I'm able to contest Machado's shot, and I was unable to get out to guard Buchanan. Now they're really pulling away, and it's not good for us. They try to give it immediately to Hardaway, but it's tipped. Still be our ball, though. We got quite lucky there, as it'd be out of bounds on them. Give it to Hardaway, and he draws the foul on Bledsoe. Somehow he's perfect at the free throw line so far, and he has 23 points on the game so far. He remains perfect and brings it down to a 5-point game. I was surprised. Both our big men have been hitting their free throws. Bledsoe tries to work on Hardaway, and I get in the paint to try and wait and help, but Bledsoe gets blocked by Hardaway. Bledsoe's able to steal it back and draw the foul on Hardaway. I really don't know who we're playing next, as I haven't really looked at the schedule too much. Then I remember that actually our next game is against Minnesota on January 17th, I believe, but I think I might be incorrect in saying that. Bledsoe was able to hit both free throws, making it a 7-point game. Once again, it gets stolen by Bledsoe, and I thought they were going to go with the pass inside, but instead they go to Buchanan, who's open for the three. I drive in to try and chart a foul, but instead I'm called for a charging foul. Machado would give the ball to Simmons, and Bledsoe would find Buchanan. He'd end up being out of bounds, and I'm happy as my turnover wouldn't really cost us too much. Just a little bit of time. I go for the screen from Shepard and just give it to him without the risk of a turnover. He's able to draw the foul on Wiley. He missed the second one, as it'd only be a 6-point game. I thought I got the block, but instead I'm called for another foul. He'd hit both of them, and now it'd be an 8-point game. I'm able to find Shepard, but he misses it. Hardaway was there for the rebound and puts it right back in. Bledsoe tries to dribble by Hardaway, so I get in the paint to try and help her draw a bad pass. Hardaway plays some good defense, and they miss the shot. But the pass over to me is way off, and it'd be another turnover. And we don't really want those at this point in the game with about 5 minutes left. I'm able to get the steal, and I give it to Young. I'm able to get open inside and bring it down to a 4-point game. Coach had thought of going on full press, but I just got in the steal and he changed his mind. We missed the shot on the other end, though, and Northwestern would find Machado for the open layup. I immediately call for the screen to get Buchanan off of me. Shepard misses the shot on the other, off the screen, and they immediately give it to Buchanan, who I was able to get back and contest. Bledsoe once again tries to work on Hardaway. Hardaway is able to cause the miss, but Bledsoe would draw once again a foul. He would make the shot, and I would find Shepard inside, who hits the shot over Wiley. Coach, I was wondering if we were going to go full court press yet, but we decided to not do it yet, as we still could have a chance. Machado does hit the mid-range shot though, so I really don't know at this point what we're going to do. I find Hardaway, and he gets the shot. We decide now to go with the full court press. I get the emphatic block on Machado to stop them from getting an easy shot off of the full court press. Kobe Simmons gives it to Machado, and Bledsoe sets the screen for him. He's forced to take a terrible shot, and Shepard gets the rebound. I immediately give it to Hardaway on the other end, who drains the shot. He has 30 points on the game, and it's pretty good. Bledsoe, though, is able to get down court and hit the three. We really don't know whether it's smart to go with the full court presses. Bledsoe can come up the court. Sherman Machado is player of the game so far. Immediately I set the screen and get those points right back. Machado would bring up the ball for them, and they try and get Bledsoe open off the screen. We're able to draw a steal, and on the other end, I'm inside for the layup. Now it's a 3-point game, so I believe now we're not doing the full court press, but I could be wrong. Bledsoe has the ball and is forced to take a mid-range shot that he ends up hitting over Hardaway. I call for the screen from Shepard to try and open something up. Shepard drives inside, but ends up being a miss. They find Simmons inside, but Hardaway's there for the rebound. I give it to Shepard, but his shot is contested pretty well. Buchanan brings it up on the other end, and I try to get a steal or something. I poke the ball loose, but it's called kickball violation. Staying Northwestern ball. They give it to Wiley, and this game's not looking too good so far. It's not looking like there's too much hope, but I find Hardaway once again. We go to the full court presses. There's under a minute left. I tried to contest Bledsoe, but seems like this game is pretty much gonna be over. I do find Hardaway though, but he's unable to get the and one. He misses the second free throw, and that's a pretty big one, as we kind of needed it. Now it's a 4-point game, and might be a 7. It does become a 7, and it's pretty much, this game is over. I take the screen and try and get a 3 to go, but this game is pretty much over. That they decide to just hold it for the rest of the game. We would lose 116 to 109. Once again losing to Northwestern. And Northwestern now, I believe, 7-1. For us, Hardaway had a big game, 33 points, 11 rebounds. Shepard had 25 points, 10 rebounds, and I had 24 points, 3 rebounds, 19 assists, and 3 steals with 10 turnovers. As normal, nothing really else from anyone on the bench. And for Northwestern, Kobe Simmons had 25 points, Machado had 22, Bledsoe had 20, Buchanan 18, Tepich 13 off the bench, and not really much else. I look to make sure that I talked to Hardaway to see if he's okay, because he held his back off of one of the and ones, but he said he was fine. I believe we'd be playing Minnesota next, and we'd lost to them previously, but they don't have a good team.